In my capacity as the technical director and engineer at this internet television station, we do, the last talk show we do ends at 9. And so it's like 9:30, 10 by the time I leave the station. So when I came up, I was always, you know, a thin guy, but I was an athlete, you know, and I was pretty scrappy and I was pretty good with my hands. And so I said, I was never looking for a fight, but if a fight came, I would accommodate you and I could handle myself. And this particular night, we stayed around just talking. And so I got out of there about 11:30. It's about 11:45 by the time I got home. We grew up in a predatory society, and we have to be ready to fight. But we also have to know sometimes that maybe I should run. I get out of the car, you know, and first thing I do is lock the wheel down, and you know, I grab my laptop. At about that time, I saw 2 young men in hoodies, and they come and accost me. I'm just about to go up the stairs, and so now here he comes from behind the tree, and he's got the gun pointed at me, and he click, and he's screaming at me. You know, he pulls it back like that and loads it around into the chamber, and I'm still trying to get up the stairs. So they began to, they could see the wheels turning, and so they said, let's bum rush him, you know. So the one with the gun attacked me, so I blocked and hit him. The other one hits me in the back of the head with I don't know what. And I'm on the stairs and I fall off the stairs to the sidewalk. Bam. And I don't remember my feet touching the ground here at all. All I remember was my head hitting there. Break my glasses, blood everywhere. So I was really lucky that I wasn't knocked unconscious. That feeling, you know, I mean, and so that feeling of helplessness. You know, here's a guy with a gun. You know, you don't have a win, but you're still trying to calculate. Number one, even if I comply with your demands and give you my keys, what's to say that you're still not going to shoot me? And that's what I was thinking, you know.
Why change the world? Really what our hope is that, you know, we know how to make games. And we want to help basically give a platform for people who don't know how to make games but have something important to talk about. For us, it's more of providing an opportunity for them to share their story in an interactive format.
It's not us telling our experience. It's these people that we interviewed, people who are on the team, telling their experience and stuff that they've gone through. And while Michael and I can write code and hook up the things that they told us to create this narrative experience, in the end it's their experience and not Michael and I's experience.
The project that we're working on is talking about the south side of Chicago, and it was something that I didn't really know much about.
We did like a lot of pre-pro in the beginning, and a lot of it was like eye-opening. We did volunteer work with some of the organizations we ended up partnering with, and we really wanted to do a lot of that. So a lot of the game development over the years has been like a lot of reading, volunteering, and
like talking to people directly one-on-one. And when you're hearing these stories about, you know, what they go through on a day-to-day life and what they kind of assume when they walk out their front door.
As far as like, you know, living in the city and living in lower income areas, like what are you concerned with?
How different that is than what I assume.
And we had this woman who was talking about how she was concerned about her son. He walks alone to school, that he was gonna get mugged and something bad was gonna happen to him.
And I'm only a couple miles away.
Thinking about that as like your daily school experience.
We're bringing this up, it's being a discussion point, you know, it's bringing up these topics for people to think about and discuss.
You don't want to be seen as like, you know, the white savior complex or anything like that.
And that's really the goal of the whole experiment, was to get people to talk about this stuff.
But like, we started this project about 3 or 4 years ago now, and like the idea that you couldn't go to the police for help was completely foreign to me. But it makes complete sense in the context of those situations and in the environment.
On any given day, I've been here watching people walk down the middle of the street as opposed to the sidewalk. Why do you think they would do that? Perfectly good sidewalk here, because these gangways, somebody could come out from these gangways. If they're in the street, they got, you know, a chance to see you Whereas they're walking on this sidewalk, you jump out and you got them. But if they're in the middle of the street and you start towards them, they see you and they can react. Maybe they got a chance to get away. Why should people have to think like that? But that's the world we live in. I'm making those types of points in the game. I'm putting those words in my character's mouth.
So we have a writer, Tony Thornton, who's lives in Inglewood, raised a family there. He did counseling at a local high school. He had a really good idea of, you know, what the things we should highlight. What are some of the good things? What are some of the community things as well? We've done as much as we possibly can to make sure that the people who we're representing are represented on the team as well, right? So we brought on a writer from Englewood, we brought on artists from the south side of Chicago, and we're constantly, you know, talking to them and iterating on stuff to say, hey, is this accurate? Is this representative of your experiences? Is this something that, you know, we're doing right? Because that is an important part of it, right? Like if we get something out there and we start a discussion, but it's all based on stuff that isn't real, like that's not helping anybody.
Just think of it like this. You're 10, 11, 12, or even younger, and you're walking down the street, and there are abandoned buildings and vacant lots. Then there are buildings with red X's on them. Now, that is supposed to mark that building for fast track in terms of the demolition process. But we moved in here over 3 years ago. That's the fast track.
You kind of hear all this stuff in school. You hear about like civil rights era and like all these things that happened in the past and like, hey, look, we fixed it, right? Like civil rights bills were passed and legislation changed and all these laws got repealed and, you know, things are better now, right?
When Michael first had the impetus to do the game, I think he was working at a soup kitchen, and he heard the same stories being told by black folks.
I was, you know, meeting new people who were from different backgrounds.
And it was stories that he couldn't relate to. He didn't live like that.
And kind of realizing that that rosy picture was not actually reality. It was just some thing that I was taught in school.
What else has changed daily life for me because of We Are Chicago?
How do I handle that, knowing that I'm a beneficiary of these like racial policies that are very, very harmful to a large number of people? Like, how do you handle that?
It seems like everything changed once I started working on the game.
There are obviously some people that are like, oh, I really want to like go shoot people, but the vast majority of people are like, hey, I need to like make a living, right? And there are no legitimate options available to me. And then you get into this weird kind of gray area of like, how do you deal with that?
You don't need to Hollywood it at all. You don't need GTA to show things. You don't need to gamify things. A lot of people are interested in the story. People are interested in the characters. People are interested in what it's actually like.
And I don't know that I have an answer for like what's the best solution for that sort of problem. I mean, I think we need to fix the societal issues. But I think with the game, one of the things we're hoping to do is to kind of have people start a discussion about it.
But I'm not like an expert on fixing things. Our game isn't about, you know, the rich, typically white, north side of Chicago. We chose a topic and named it We Are Chicago because we feel like a lot of times people ignore the parts of Chicago that they don't want to think about. And a lot of times that is the lower income, you know, lower opportunity areas.
That's what we want people to know, that look at the circumstances that they live under, that they languish under, and if you lived under those circumstances, would you do anything differently? You know, would you be bigger than your circumstance?